Last time I quoted Christopher Hitchens saying that if God wanted man to live up to his high standards, quote, he should have taken more care to invent a different species. And I made the point that Christianity actually agrees with Hitchens that the standards are difficult. In fact, more than difficult, they are impossible. And I want to pick that idea up today by noting that Christianity raises the bar even higher than other religions by insisting that to enter God's kingdom, we have to be perfect. Not good enough, but perfect. Being good is not good enough. And no one is perfect, right? There's an old saying in Christianity that the ground is level at the foot of the cross. Another way to put it is that we are all sinners. And it's not to say that some people aren't better than others, some people sin less than others. Yeah, sure. But ultimately, none of this really matters because none of us can make it under our own steam. So the solution then is for us to use a Christian phrase, die unto ourselves, become totally different people, morally pure in the eyes of God. And here's a quotation from the Bible, "For unless the grain of wheat die unto itself, it shall not produce fruit." So here we see that Christianity agrees with Hinduism and Buddhism on the need to extinguish the old self, but it disagrees in declaring in advance that this project from a human enterprise is not possible. It's not possible because human beings can't do this. They can't pull this off. So how do we reconcile, this is kind of the key question, divine holiness and justice with human salvation? So the Christian answer is pretty simple. It is that God decided to pay the price himself for human sin. So not just this sin or that sin, but all sin. And God does this by becoming man and by dying on the cross. Now, think of how incredible this idea is of God. Well, let's leave aside for a moment the dying on the cross. Think of how remarkable it is simply for God to become man. No other religion can even conceive this. The Greek and Roman gods of antiquity, some would sometimes, put on a human guise or would disguise themselves as humans or mortals, but they didn't actually become mortal. The Mexican author Carlos Fuentes once wrote that when the Christian missionaries first presented their doctrines to the Aztecs were completely confused. They were uncomprehending. Why? Here's Fuentes, quote, "In a universe accustomed to seeing men sacrifice to the gods, nothing amazed the Indians more than the sight of a god who sacrificed himself to men." So you see here how Christianity is a kind of inversion of what the Aztecs, and in fact the Aztecs were in this sense in common with other religions. Man has to be put on the altar and sort of chopped up into pieces, if you will, for God's sake. But in Christianity, God is put on the cross and chopped up, so to speak, into pieces for man's sake. So what other religions hold to be incomprehensible, absurd, even scandalous, Christianity holds to be true. Now, the writer Richard Dawkins says that atonement, which is the central doctrine of Christianity, is, quote, vicious, sadomasochistic, and repellent. But I don't think it is at all. In fact, I think as Christians, we view the atonement of Christ as a beautiful sacrifice. Somehow God doesn't just become man, but he takes on the sins and burdens of man in order to make us eligible for the heavenly kingdom. A pastor I knew in San Diego, Bob Botsford, puts it this way: Christ paid a debt he didn't owe because we owe a debt we can't pay. So Christ on the cross literally assumes the darkness, the loneliness, the sin of the world. And through the extremity of Golgotha, the path to the cross, Christ reconciles divine justice and divine mercy and really provides us with a passport to heaven. So the bridge, I talked earlier about a bridge between the human level and the divine level. This bridge that man is unable to build up to God, God has now built for man.